And on the line is the former fiance of Jason Collins, Carolyn Moos. Carolyn, how are you?
I'm doing fairly well. I do apologize. It's been a whirlwind of emotions this week and a lot of extending of myself and my emotions. So, but I do want to open up because I think that by opening up, we can help other people that might experience a similar situation. And, there's a ton of layers to this occurring. Obviously, myself having invested 8 years in the relationship, and that's extremely difficult. But I also feel that on the flip side of that, we have societal issues that were so intense and kind of challenging and intimidating that wouldn't allow someone to be their true selves. And that's something that I think will help society for us to take a look at. And then on top of that, we're now dealing with the context of professional sports. And I played pro sports myself. I've had that reverse stereotype actually put on me for I'm a very feminine woman, and I like to wear dresses after the games and, come across as being, quote unquote, maybe not your stereotypical, elite athlete. But I think at the end of the day, your beauty as a woman doesn't challenge your ability on the court. And on the flip side, for a male, you're coming out as having a certain orientation doesn't challenge your ability on the court. So there's so many layers to what's transpiring here, and it's hard to process it all, quite frankly, and it's going to take time naturally.
Right.
But there's a lot to talk about.
Definitely, and let's get right down to it. I mean, your fiance of 8 years, Jason Collins, he told the world that he is gay, and he told you a few days before he told everyone else, told the world, I should say. What was your initial thoughts when he finally told you? You heard that.
The first thing, to be honest with you, was not necessarily, believing it at first. And then I'm a very unselfish person, and the first words that came out of my mouth is, wow, I can't imagine going 33 years of my life not, being myself, and a huge weight must be lifted off your shoulders right now. Just really extending myself to him. And it honestly, that was Monday morning, and it wasn't until Monday evening that I took some time to actually kind of dig up my inner emotions, which was, gosh, I spent 8 years, investing myself. So it was a lot of kind of tugging my emotions back and forth, and I've had the ability to express both sides of the equation, I think, in a fairly healthy way, but it's still have moments where it's really challenging too.
Definitely.
But in all of this, our mission hopefully can be good, and hopefully we can actually get out there and change society, and I can help save, women from going through something similar, because I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. And, and then on Jason's side, to be able to be powerful and come forward and really change the pro sports arena, because I think that's so necessary. I don't judge anybody. I don't judge anybody by their orientation. I'm straight. I still want to be married. I still want to have kids. And, I have had teammates in the WNBA, who have different preferences, and I never judge them, and they respect me for who I am, and I respect them for who they are. So I think it's, again, there's a lot of things to dissect from this experience.
I can imagine. And when he broke the engagement off back in 2009, what reason did he give?
Quite frankly, I definitely took a hard look at that, and, that's also difficult for me because I was really trying to dissect. I'd asked of him, can you create a list? I'm a very visual person, and I like to write things down and take a hard look at, what's going on here. And so I asked that of him, and I think, there was a line in there that, something to the effect of, at the right time, I want to share with you what it is, but here are my thoughts. And we had a list, I had a list of things I was going over, but to me, when you work through things as, a long-term couple, you're going to have a list. That list is ongoing, and you work through things together as a team, and so I was just in my mind thinking, okay, is this something that eventually we could come back to and revisit and work through? And those emotions actually, again, were dug up this week, and I realized that subconsciously I was really judging that list for a very long time. I mean, really, like 2009 to 2013, trying to be a better person, just trying to be like, okay, well, we could do this better or that. But obviously now knowing what I know, there are deeper layers to what contributed to the outcome of 2009. So it's difficult to have that amount of time where I'm questioning myself almost, but then not understanding why I should question myself. So
definitely. I look at it now, and obviously you said in previous interviews that you did not know, you had no idea that this was the case. But you've had a few days to kind of think about this whole thing. Was there any indication at all within the relationship or during the 8 years that he was possibly gay? Any type of indication that you may have overlooked?
No. Yeah, okay. None whatsoever. Yeah, it's tough because some of his former teammates are surprised, and I think more importantly, your family, your mother, your father, brother, those people around you that care most about you and are really in your life on a consistent basis, they're the ones that you let in. They're the ones that show acceptance and approval. And I think that that's where really, a lot of things could transpire from. And not showing signs to the people that you let into your inner circle as a real protective mechanism, to be able to do that means that you're, obviously very concerned about being accepted. And I think that that's the bigger issue here is what societal pressures would allow someone to mislead themselves and also other people for that long.
We're talking to former WNBA star Carolyn Moos and former fiancé of Jason Collins. And I know you said in other interviews that Jason Collins has not apologized to you. Would you like an apology at some point? I mean, 8 years is a long time.
Yes, but that has to come in his own way.
Okay.
When he understands it. But yes, and thankfully I have friends, and I literally every day I have 350 plus emails about stories, similar stories.
Wow.
And women, that are just reaching out to me, and that means a lot because that's a form of an apology because I'm reading other people's apologies, which kind of, it gets me through because I realize that the processing and those types of things hopefully will happen at the right time, but it is frustrating to, not have resolution while I'm sitting here with, emotion and whatnot, but also, understanding the process and kind of what the last week has been. It's a lot. It's a lot to try to make sense of.
During this whole relationship, 8 years, did you believe or do you believe at this point that he may have cheated on you with another man during your relationship?
I think there are things that obviously will remain between Jason and I, but I do trust him. As far as a person, I trust him to share the truth, as far as, direct question, and I feel that if I am able to have that opportunity to be with him, and just openly discuss things with each other, that he will, be very honest. He's a very direct person when he's asked a direct question.
Okay. And 8 years, like we said before, you were in a relationship with him for 8 years. And as we all know, that's a long time. And I know you deeply care for Jason Collins, as you stated here. But do you have any level of resentment towards him, any?
I have resentment for investing 8 years in a dream and a relationship that didn't transpire into everything that I thought it would be. I have resentment for being lied to or misled. But that hate isn't directed maybe only at the person. It's also directed at society. It's directed at, contributing influences. I've never played that role, and I never will have to play that role of coming to the world saying, look, this is who I am because I'm straight. So I don't know what that journey looks like. I don't know what it feels like. But at the same time, I personally could never mislead somebody. That's not something I could ever do. But so it's hard because the person that I came to love is all I remember, to be honest with you. But then I see the other side of it, and it's like I could never do that to somebody. But it's a lot to comprehend. It's a lot to...
yeah, obviously. Definitely. Have you dated since 2009?
I have. I mean, I openly, I had some wonderful relationships that, were very serious and, possibly could lead to something great. But, I'll be honest, the back of my mind, I still had somewhere in there, eventually Jason will come back to me. Like, I don't know, I just still was holding on to that dream. So, to some extent I suppressed that because I didn't realize it was still in me to be holding on to that. And it kind of came out this past week. Like, I was like, wow, I really was kind of subconsciously holding out to see if that would ever come to be again. But, with that said, I think that's good that I can work through that now and to say that that's exactly what was going on, And it's, it's a little bit surreal to have to say that, but it's good that I can discover, some of those things that I had that I was still holding on to.
And Carolyn, you got a lot of things going on, but you're doing some things with your organization, Fit for Life. Tell us a bit about that organization, some of the things that you're doing.
I absolutely am very passionate about nutrition and fitness and health and wellness. And so I do a variety of things. I work with student athletes, elite athletes, and pro athletes for nutrition log analysis, but I also work with obese patients, type 2 diabetics, at-risk populations, hypertension. I've taken off individuals off insulin. So for me, the lifestyle piece is everything. If you don't have yourself and your health, you don't have longevity and wellness. So what I do is through my website, I work with clients all around the world via phone, email, Skype, and provide nutrition log analysis as well as cross-training. And they can reach me by my website, which is carolynmoos.com. And from there, they can actually download a lot of useful content and materials as well. So I'm really enjoying it. I also work with the TMBA, and we develop student athletes as well as at-risk children and children with disabilities through basketball, doing some phenomenal things with them as well.
Okay. And that's a great thing that you're doing. And I've heard and read somewhere that you are, at this point, you want to have kids and you are freezing some eggs for the possibility of having kids if you do not find an individual to have kids with. Is that true?
For me, that's something before all this transpired, I had planned as a plan B. I personally want plan A, which is, to find my husband and to have kids naturally, which thankfully I still have time to do both. So I kind of plan everything in my life. I went to Stanford. I'm very intelligent, and I never want to regret anything that I don't do in life. So for me, it's just a backup plan, and I'm, very fortunate that I'm healthy and I can do all those amazing, wonderful things. So hopefully both transpire, and I'm able to do both. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what will happen.
Carolyn, pleasure having you on the show. I mean, you have a great story here. I wish you nothing but the best moving forward, and I'd love to have you back on in the future. Good luck to you.
Great. Thank you so much.